I'd like to respond to a viewer comment. She had watched my video that was entitled, "When Your Spouse is a Prodigal, You Cannot Live as a Single Person or a Widow." The video basically talked about the fact that you're still married. Whether or not he or she leaves you, goes off, gets into 7 or 8 fake marriages, has kids with the other person, it's irrelevant. Their sinful decision does not break your bond. So you're still married. So your freedom, you're not free to date. You're not free to sleep with someone else. You're not free to do anything that comes with the privilege of being married. And so I'll often have people that are standing saying things like, well, is it okay if I go to lunch with another woman or another man? I mean, we can be friends, maybe hang out and do everything, but just never have sex. And I'm like, if your spouse was with you, what would they say? Well, no. Well, then you're married. Don't do it. Remember, the Bible also talks about not creating scandal. Anyway, so this person saw the video and she writes, "This is so interesting. Lots of great insights." She asked, "I wonder though, is adultery in the sense of remarriage an unforgivable sin?" So my first response is no sin is unforgivable except for blaspheming the Holy Spirit. The difference is the person has to be remorseful of this sin. Second, that is a mortal sin. And if you die with mortal sin on your soul, it separates you from God. That's an automatic choice to go to hell. So they have to stop this sin before they die. There's a lot of people I know that are in fake second marriages and they've had children and they've recognized it and they're like, we're going to live as brother and sister because we don't want to displease the Lord. They can't go back to their first and only spouse for various reasons. And some of them try, but they say, we recognize that our second marriage was fake. It was adultery, and we no longer want to sin like that. So yeah, that's forgivable. Now, this person goes on to say, did God really put all marriages together? Because in the Bible, he specifically told Solomon not to marry the strange women because it would turn his heart away from God, but he did it anyway. So yeah, God told Solomon, don't marry the strange women because they will tear your heart away from me. And guess what? He was right. He married strange women and they did, in fact, tear his heart away from God. Which, by the way, Solomon is the wisest man ever to walk the earth, and God said no one would ever come close to his wisdom ever again. So he had all this wisdom, and he still sinned. It just goes to show how when, love and sex, it blinds you. Just blinded his wisdom. He didn't care. No, I had thousands of women and even more concubine. Wives and concubine. Yet he knew. He was blind to those sins. Oh. If he wasn't blind and he chose willfully against God, yikes. But he was in fact married. Well, at least to the first one, and not the others. So the whole point was that, valid marriage. I presume what this woman is saying, because she said in the, did God really put all marriages together? Because in the Bible, he specifically told Solomon not to marry the strange women. So yeah, I mean, God puts together a marriage, but remember, the marriage is one man, one woman, first marriage. You're married till the person dies. Now, assuming Solomon's first wife or your first wife or your first husband is still alive, that bond doesn't end. It doesn't end. Divorce doesn't unmarry you. Infidelity doesn't unmarry you. I've said this before. Nothing unmarries you. Death is the only thing that frees you from your final vow. You are then free to marry someone else. And we just had a conversation in my standards group today that someone wrote about marriages forever, and someone corrected them and said, no, marriage is for life. And I thought, good distinction, because marriage isn't forever, as Jesus taught in the Bible. When I die and go to heaven, I'm not going to be married to my husband. Marriage is for life. He is mine and I am his until one of us dies. So I hope that helps. Go ahead and share this video with all your friends and family. Go and like and subscribe to my newsletter. I'm getting that out bi-weekly. Again, breakfastwithbacon.com. I'd love all your suggestions for future videos, questions to answer. And every now and then, I'm going to answer a viewer comment. Maybe it'll be yours. But I know there's a lot of rough things going on in the world. And it's a crazy, crazy place. But just want to remind you that I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. And thank you for watching Breakfast with Bacon. But despite all the darkness, live your life sunny side up.